Hello, deserving listeners. It's just me today. I thought I would do an episode about adoption. Adoption. It's a pretty big topic and one that is relevant to me in my career. I was prompted to do an episode on adoption because a patron wrote in and asked for us to do an episode on adoption. I'll just summarize his email. It was a nice email. And he said that he was adopted at birth. His mom is a psychoanalyst. His parents are very loving. His adoptive parents are very loving, and they're good parents. And the patron has spent a lot of time learning about psychoanalysis and psychodynamic theory, even though he's not a clinician. He's half white, half Native American. So that's his biological roots. His birth parents or biological parents were one was white and one was Native American. His birth family were not so great in his life when he was growing up. His birth family committed a lot of unwanted and uninvited incursions in his life, he said. I don't know the exact details on that, but in my experience, what that means is that the birth parents had contact with the adopted child, with their biological child who had been adopted into this other family, and might have been a little chaotic themselves, and might have asked for visitation sporadically, and when visitation happened, it didn't go so well. They might have and I don't know what he means by uninvited incursions into his life, but that can even get as severe as the birth parents trying to steal the child back. He didn't mention anything like that, but it sounded like the contact that he had with his birth family growing up was not pleasant. As he was growing up, the patron said that he felt very different in his neighborhood because he looked different. I from his email, my guess was that he grew up in a white neighborhood, and because he's half Native, he didn't look entirely white, and so he was discriminated against and made to answer a lot of funny questions like, why do you look like that and stuff. And that's exactly my experience growing up as a half Japanese, half white person. I grew up in a predominantly white neighborhood. One might say 100% white in some ways, in some Amish. Now there's a lot more Asians out there, but not in the 70s. And absolutely, I remember being asked all sorts of stupid questions that were, basically coming from an innocent place. But after the 500th, 1000th time of answering the same stupid question, you just want, especially when you're young and you just want to fit in. But really, people want to fit in at all times. I'll tell you, I have a Honda. My last name's Honda. I have a Honda Accord. I don't always try to buy Hondas, but whenever I go buying cars, I just find that Honda Accords are just my car. It's like the right price point. It feels right. And there are other cars that are similar, but it's like, I don't know. Anyway, keep in the family, I guess. But anyway, so I took my car back to the dealership to be serviced. And whenever you go to a dealership, there's a lot of times where they ask you your name, right? They'll say, oh, well, let's check you in. What's your name? And, blah, blah, blah. And then you go to another station and they say, oh, what's your name? And so there's 4 or 5 people that I told my name to. And, Kirk Honda, and actually in the Seattle area, there's a dealership in Kirkland. And so it's Kirkland Honda. And so, and I get calls sometimes, people wanting to, they look me up in the phone book or whatever, and they think I'm the dealership. But anyway, so they asked my name. My name's Kirk Honda, and they didn't blink an eye. My name could have been Joseph Smith, and no one ever said a single thing, which I thought was great. usually when I go to a dealership and I say my name's Honda, they're like, "Oh boy, are you related to the owner?" And da 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 da, And again, the first couple times that happened, fine, but after 1,000 times, you just want to. I don't know. Maybe I'm just more introverted or shy or something. I just don't want that attention. And so I was really happy that Linwood Honda up north of Seattle, they didn't say a word about my name. But anyway, so I totally understand what the patron is talking about in terms of growing up in a white neighborhood and even in a white family and not looking entirely white. And so that didn't go so well for him either. The patron also said that he had a bad breakup a few years ago, which resulted in anxiety and depression. He was a financial advisor, but now he's a music producer, which is pretty cool. As a person who wanted to be a music producer when I was a teenager, I can see why he made that switch. He went to therapy, took meds, which helped, but throughout his life, he's had identity issues related to his adoption. He's had self-esteem issues related just in life, but maybe to his adoption. And he's felt like he hasn't fit in very well. Again, adopted at birth, so there wasn't an attachment disruption past, the birth attachment disruption, which there are arguments that there is an attachment disruption there, but not as severe as if you're, say, adopted at the age of 5 or something. But and he wants to know what my opinion is on this. And I've treated a lot of people who have been adopted. I've treated a lot of families that have adoption as a major issue. I've seen a lot of different things in my career, and I've also looked into the research, and there's quite a bit of research on adoption. So I thought today that's what I would talk about. I'd talk about adoption and the research and the clinical side and the development and identity and psychodynamics and all that kind of stuff. Welcome to the Psychology in Seattle podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Kirk Honda. I'm a professor and a therapist. This episode is just for patrons of the podcast. So if you're listening to this and you're not a patron of the podcast, this episode will end before the content begins. If you want to hear the full episode, you have to become a patron of the podcast by going to patreon.com. That's patreon.com. Patrons get access to all the premium episodes on their phones or on other places. And when you become a patron, we'll tell you how to access those premium episodes on your phone. And know that a portion of your monthly pledge goes toward various charities that we support.